From November 2nd to November 26, 2025, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, art, relationships, and comfort, will transit its own sign Libra, bringing a soothing wave of charm, diplomacy, and balance after several months of intense planetary activity. This transit marks a refreshing shift in astrological energy, particularly as Venus enters the sign it governs and where it feels most at home, radiating its full potential. It's important to highlight that these interpretations are based on Sidereal or Vedic Astrology, which considers a roughly 24-degree variance from the tropical zodiac. Libra, the natural seventh sign of the zodiac, represents partnerships, agreements, fairness, and the art of maintaining harmony between opposing forces. When Venus moves into Libra, it emphasizes togetherness, mutual understanding, and the pursuit of peace in all forms of human interaction. During this period, Venus will conjunct a debilitated Sun in Libra until November 16th, when the Sun moves into Scorpio. This combination of Venus, the planet of relationships, and the Sun, the planet of ego and individuality, creates a delicate dynamic that highlights the eternal conflict between love and pride. While Venus seeks connection, equality, and diplomacy, the Sun in Libra struggles to assert its independence and authority. The result can manifest as ego clashes or power struggles in relationships if not handled with awareness. Since Venus is the stronger planet here, being in its Mooltrikona sign, it has the upper hand, allowing peace and balance to prevail if one consciously chooses love over ego. This phase serves as a reminder that true relationships require compromise and mutual respect rather than domination or control. At the same time, Mercury's transit and retrograde add another interesting layer to this period. Mercury will be transiting Scorpio during most of November and will turn retrograde on November 10th, eventually moving back into Libra on November 23rd, just 3 days before Venus exits the sign. This indicates that communication will play a key role in relationship dynamics. Past conversations, misunderstandings, or unspoken emotions may resurface, giving people an opportunity to reevaluate their words and intentions. Venus in Libra will help smoothen communication, encouraging diplomacy, tact, and honesty in resolving issues. This retrograde overlap signifies that before Venus departs Libra, some old relationships may get a chance for closure or reconciliation, while others may find renewed balance through heart-to-heart communication. Adding further depth to this period, Mars transits its own sign Scorpio, creating a passionate undercurrent beneath Venus's refined and diplomatic tone. With Mars in Scorpio and Venus in Libra, two consecutive signs ruled by Mars and Venus respectively, the cosmos will reflect an intense balance between desire and diplomacy, action and attraction. When the Sun joins Mercury and Mars in Scorpio after November 16th, a major energetic shift will occur from airy Libra to watery Scorpio, transforming Venus's graceful charm into emotional intensity and depth. Thus, during the first half of the month, the focus will be on maintaining harmony in partnerships, while the latter half may bring deeper emotional revelations, especially as hidden truths and suppressed feelings come to the surface. Meanwhile, Jupiter begins its retrograde motion in Cancer on November 11th, expanding introspection and emotional wisdom, while Saturn continues its retrograde in Pisces until November 28th. This planetary backdrop makes Venus's transit even more significant. It becomes the main soothing and stabilizing influence amidst a sky filled with introspective and retrograde energies. Venus in Libra acts as the mediator, helping people process emotional, karmic, and psychological lessons in a more graceful way. It invites everyone to pause, restore inner balance, and realign their relationships and values. From a symbolic standpoint, Venus in Libra represents the peak of social grace and refined love. Libra is not merely about romance, it also rules all forms of agreements, contracts, and partnerships. Thus, this transit can bring favorable developments in business collaborations, creative partnerships, and diplomatic efforts. Venus governs both Taurus, wealth, stability, and comfort, and Libra, relationships, harmony, and justice, so this transit also improves financial matters, particularly for those involved in arts, design, fashion, entertainment, law, and public relations. Aesthetic sensibilities heighten during this time. People may feel drawn to beautify their surroundings, invest in art, or engage in creative expression. On a collective level, Venus in Libra often restores social equilibrium. After the tension and criticism that come with Venus's prior debilitation in Virgo, this transit feels like a return to ease and appreciation. Where Virgo seeks perfection and finds flaws, Libra seeks understanding and finds connection. The world collectively becomes more receptive, compassionate, and relationship-oriented. The Sun-Venus conjunction may still bring brief moments of imbalance, especially in matters of pride and validation. Since Venus will form a conjunction with Sun for much of the first half of this transit, many may experience confusion regarding love and self-worth. The key lies in understanding that love cannot flourish where ego dominates. Once the Sun leaves Libra on November 16th, Venus's energy will shine unobstructed, bringing clarity, romance, and beauty back into focus. Venus's aspect on Aries from Libra further emphasizes individuality within partnership. This aspect teaches that while love requires union, true balance can only exist when both individuals retain their independence and identity. Venus's influence on Aries encourages people to express self-love and authenticity within their relationships. This is a time to heal codependency patterns and seek partnerships that are based on equality and mutual respect rather than control or sacrifice. Ultimately, the Venus transit in Libra is about the restoration of harmony within relationships, society, and the self. Venus represents love and activities that bring joy. As Venus transits through different houses for approximately 25 days, it signifies an increased inclination towards activities associated with that specific house. The final outcomes may vary based on the dignity of Venus in the birth chart, but the common thread is an affinity towards engagements related to the house Venus is currently transiting. Venus primarily influences the Moon and Mercury and is relatively susceptible to the influence of malefic planets such as the Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current Dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining Venus's Ashtaka Varga score in Libra. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Venus's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Venus Dasha may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, the transit of Venus in Libra is a major event, as Venus will move through your 7th house, the natural house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, and public dealings. Since Venus rules both your 2nd house of family, wealth, and speech and your 7th house of partnerships, this period becomes especially significant for personal and professional connections. Venus is not only transiting its own sign but also its Mooltrikona sign, which means it operates with its full strength here, amplifying its natural qualities of love, diplomacy, peace, and charm. This transit brings opportunities for healing and balance in relationships, along with a desire to connect, communicate, and rebuild harmony after previous misunderstandings. Libra, being a sign of balance and partnership, resonates deeply with the themes that Venus embodies. For Aries individuals, who are often assertive, independent, and sometimes impatient in relationships, Venus in Libra acts as a harmonizing force that softens the temperament and encourages a more cooperative and understanding approach. You may find yourself more willing to listen to others, make compromises, and seek peaceful resolutions. The 7th house also represents how you interact with the world at large, your public image, business collaborations, and one-on-one partnerships, so this transit may also enhance your social grace, popularity, and ability to attract others through charm and diplomacy. The Sun will also be transiting Libra, where it remains debilitated until November 16th. This conjunction between Venus and the debilitated Sun brings a significant lesson for Aries individuals about balancing ego and relationships. The Sun represents authority, individuality, and pride, while Venus represents harmony, love, and cooperation. When these two planets meet, there can be temporary friction in partnerships, ego clashes, emotional distance, or a struggle to maintain equality. For those in relationships or marriage, this period could bring sensitive moments where pride or self-assertion must give way to understanding and humility. Yet because Venus is stronger in Libra, love has the power to prevail if you consciously choose peace over power. This period is ideal for resolving long-standing issues in relationships through calm discussion and mutual respect. As the Sun moves into Scorpio on November 16th, Venus will continue to shine brightly in Libra without any malefic influence, restoring emotional clarity and romantic warmth. The days following mid-November are particularly favorable for strengthening love bonds, committing to long-term partnerships, or rekindling passion that might have dimmed in recent months. The presence of Venus in the 7th house can also bring opportunities for new relationships, especially for single Aries individuals. Encounters during this time may feel karmic or deeply meaningful, as Venus's rulership of both the 2nd and 7th houses ties love and emotional security together. You may attract a partner who values stability, beauty, and emotional sincerity. Mercury is currently transiting Scorpio, the 8th house from Aries, which represents secrets, transformation, and shared resources. On November 10th, Mercury turns retrograde in Scorpio, encouraging introspection about trust, communication, and deeper emotional bonds and relationships. When Mercury retrogrades back into Libra on November 23rd, just 3 days before Venus leaves the sign, it creates an interesting overlap that brings back old conversations, unresolved misunderstandings, or even past partners. This can be a time of reconciliation or closure, depending on your personal circumstances. Since Venus governs the 7th house and Mercury rules the 3rd and 6th, this retrograde can make you revisit your communication patterns, perhaps realizing where arguments or miscommunications have created distance and how to repair them through honesty and compassion. Be mindful of words during this phase. Retrograde Mercury can make you rethink before speaking, and Venus in Libra helps ensure your message comes across with kindness. Meanwhile, Mars, the ruler of your 1st house, is transiting its own sign Scorpio, which falls in your 8th house. This placement creates a strong desire for emotional depth, intimacy, and transformation. While Venus in the 7th house seeks harmony, Mars in the 8th wants intensity. This can create a passionate but volatile energy in relationships. Deep attraction, emotional vulnerability, or even jealousy may surface. For Aries individuals, the key is to find balance between these contrasting energies. Passion must be guided by understanding. This is an excellent period for emotional healing in partnerships if you are willing to face uncomfortable truths. It's also a time when business partnerships or joint ventures can become more profitable, especially if you deal with finance, consulting, or creative industries, but mutual trust and transparency are essential. Jupiter's retrograde in Cancer, starting November 11th, also influences this period, as it takes place in your 4th house of home, family, and emotional roots. This adds a nurturing yet introspective energy. You may find yourself reflecting on how family values and emotional conditioning influence your current relationships. Old emotional wounds from the past might resurface, but Jupiter's wisdom helps you see them from a higher perspective. For some Aries individuals, this could be a time of reconciliation within family ties, while others might focus on creating emotional security in their domestic environment. Saturn's retrograde in Pisces continues until November 28th, moving through your 12th house. This influence deepens introspection and karmic realization. It encourages Aries individuals to reflect on subconscious fears, past karmic patterns, and emotional burdens that have prevented peace in relationships. Combined with Venus in Libra, this is a profound period for inner healing. Saturn's presence in the 12th house can make you feel temporarily detached or reflective, but this solitude is productive. It helps you release toxic attachments and prepare for more balanced partnerships in the future. Financially, this transit can bring improvement, as Venus also governs your 2nd house of wealth. Business alliances and contractual agreements can turn favorable. New collaborations may form, and existing ones may bring mutual profit. Venus in the 7th house enhances your ability to attract supportive people, clients, or partners who share your vision. Just ensure that all agreements are made carefully, especially around Mercury's retrograde periods, to avoid confusion or overlook details. Emotionally, Venus in Libra brings a soothing effect. You may feel more open, romantic, and expressive. It's an ideal time for spending quality moments with your partner, going on short trips, or simply enjoying pleasant experiences that rekindle warmth. For single Aries individuals, someone charming and balanced could enter your life during this time, possibly through social gatherings or professional interactions. Those who are married or in long-term relationships may find that this transit helps bridge emotional gaps, provided they approach discussions with empathy rather than assertiveness. Overall, The Venus transit in Libra for Aries' first house is a period of relationship healing, emotional renewal, and balancing of ego and affection. Together, these planetary alignments make this Venus transit not just about romance or charm but about learning the true essence of partnership, where both individuality and union coexist in perfect equilibrium. This is your time to embrace love with maturity, to rebuild bridges with sincerity, and to realize that true balance in relationships is not about perfection, it's about mutual respect, compassion, and understanding. For Taurus, Venus's transit through Libra occurs in the 6th house, governing daily routines, work, health, discipline, service, and competition. Venus, ruler of Taurus, oversees both the 1st house of self and the 6th of duties and health. When the planet of love, harmony, and comfort moves into the house of struggle, it blends ease with effort, asking you to find beauty in discipline, peace in responsibility, and balance in service. This transit offers opportunities to create order in your routines, refine health habits, and cultivate harmony in professional relationships, especially with coworkers and those you serve. Libra, the natural 7th sign, represents fairness, cooperation, and equilibrium. With its ruler Venus in Libra, your focus shifts toward resolving disputes and restoring peace in strained relationships. Yet since Venus moves through the 6th house, it highlights areas needing correction more than simple pleasure. You may notice imbalances in your work-life rhythm or realize where patience and refinement are required. Venus here promotes teamwork, courteous service, and kindness as tools to replace competition with collaboration. At the beginning of the transit, Venus conjoins a debilitated Sun in Libra. This alignment may cause friction between your desire for peace and ego-driven dynamics at work. The Sun rules individuality and authority, while Venus governs cooperation. In the 6th house, this meeting can test your diplomacy as you navigate conflicts or face situations challenging your sense of fairness. Venus is dignified here, ruling Libra and occupying its Mooltrikona sign, so grace and tact ultimately help you prevail. The lesson is that harmony isn't about avoiding conflict but mastering it through dignity and understanding. After November 16th, once the Sun leaves Libra for Scorpio, Venus's energy expresses freely without any malefic influence. The latter half of the transit feels smoother and more constructive, enabling you to heal workplace dynamics and improve efficiency. Focus on reorganizing your workflow, enhancing skills, and solving problems with composure. Your calm, solution-oriented attitude may attract appreciation from peers or support from superiors. Because the 6th house also represents service and healing, this phase may open opportunities for volunteering, counseling, or community welfare. Venus here transforms work into devotion, reminding you that sincere service can be deeply fulfilling. Moving through Scorpio, your 7th house, Mercury turns retrograde on November 10th, spotlighting communication in partnerships, personal or professional. Misunderstandings may arise, so thoughtful listening and diplomacy are essential. On November 23rd, Mercury retrogrades back into Libra, re-entering your 6th house just before Venus exits. This overlap suggests unfinished work issues or previous discussions resurfacing for closure. Projects, agreements, or workplace conversations might need revision. Since Mercury governs your 2nd and 5th houses, speech, intellect, and finances, clarity and patience become vital. Fortunately, Venus's gentle presence softens Mercury's retrograde turbulence, encouraging problem-solving through tact rather than criticism. Meanwhile, Mars transits its own sign Scorpio, your 7th house, creating a potent interplay between the 6th and 7th houses, service and partnership, work and relationships. Mars in Scorpio intensifies interactions, making partnerships more assertive or competitive. There could be occasional tension or dominance issues, but Venus's balanced energy in Libra helps diffuse them. For some Taurus individuals, this combination sparks collaborations or partnerships, especially in counseling, negotiation, or teamwork. The key is restraint. Avoid impulsive reactions and channel Mars's drive into productive cooperation. On a broader level, Jupiter begins its retrograde in Cancer on November 11th, activating your 3rd house of communication, learning, and effort. This introspective phase encourages you to rethink how you express yourself professionally. It's an ideal time to refine writing, speaking, or networking strategies. Jupiter's aspect on your 7th and 11th houses can reconnect you with past collaborators or revive older professional opportunities. For those in service, communication, or educational roles, this retrograde supports rediscovering purpose and strengthening long-term goals through thoughtful re-engagement. Saturn continues its retrograde in Pisces until November 28th, influencing your 11th house of ambitions, social networks, and long-term achievements. This energy prompts you to review your goals and assess whether your associations align with your growth. Together with Venus's 6th house transit, this encourages aligning daily habits with broader aspirations. Saturn provides discipline. Venus adds refinement. Together they teach sustainable progress built on grace and structure. You may also reevaluate friendships or group affiliations, choosing those that bring genuine value rather than obligation. From a health standpoint, Venus's presence in the 6th house highlights self-care and physical balance. Since Venus governs comfort and pleasure, it inspires healing through gentle practices, meditation, mindful eating, rest, and aesthetic self-maintenance. Yet the 6th house can also trigger indulgence or laziness, so moderation is important. Turning wellness into a pleasant routine rather than a chore helps you stay consistent. Venus reminds you that self-discipline can be an act of love, not punishment. Financially, Venus in the 6th house enhances income through teamwork and steady effort. As ruler of your 1st house, your charm and cooperative attitude directly impact financial progress. Recognition for diplomacy or service quality may yield tangible gains. Still, with Mercury retrograde mid-month, financial communication or paperwork may face brief delays. Avoid impulsive spending or major contracts during that period. Instead, refine strategies and strengthen long-term plans. On a personal and spiritual level, this Venus transit cultivates humility and grace through service. For Taurus individuals who naturally value comfort and stability, Venus in the 6th house reveals that peace arises not from ease but from meaningful action. You may feel drawn toward helping others, improving your surroundings, or healing rifts with empathy. Problem-solving ability and fairness become your strongest virtues. Every act of service, however small, can elevate your sense of purpose and harmony. By the time Venus exits Libra on November 26th, you emerge with clearer understanding of balance between discipline and pleasure, self-care and responsibility, work and harmony. This period isn't about dramatic success but refinement, the subtle improvements that create smoother, more fulfilling daily life. Lessons in communication, health, and cooperation gained now will continue to yield benefits long after Venus departs. By merging love with duty, you rediscover the joy of balance, the art of healing through service, order through kindness, and harmony within the everyday rhythm of life. For Gemini, Venus transits its own sign Libra, activating the 5th house of creativity, romance, education, children, and pleasure. This is one of the most favorable Venus transits for you, as Libra's refined air element complements Gemini's intellectual and communicative nature. Venus rules your 5th house, Libra, and 12th house, Taurus, linking love, imagination, hidden desires, and spiritual fulfillment. Moving through its Mooltrikona sign, Venus enhances joy, creativity, and emotional depth while prompting reflection on what truly brings happiness and love. The 5th house embodies inspiration, passion, and self-expression. With Venus here, you feel more romantic, inspired, and attuned to beauty. Emotional and artistic instincts heighten, allowing you to appreciate art, music, and relationships more deeply. If you felt creatively blocked or emotionally detached, this transit reignites your inner spark. You express affection with greater grace, handle love matters with diplomacy, and attract harmony through charm. Artistic projects, social gatherings, or even hobbies become meaningful sources of joy. Students benefit from improved concentration and enthusiasm for studies requiring imagination or communication. Early in the transit, Venus shares Libra with Sunday. The Sun's weakness may initially create ego clashes or uncertainty in your love life or creative expression. You might feel underrecognized or question your worth. Yet Venus's strength in her own sign offsets this, promoting forgiveness and reconnection. If tension lingers with a loved one, this period encourages graceful resolution. Your diplomacy becomes your strength, healing relationships with partners, friends, or children. Once the Sun leaves Libra on November 16th, Venus shines fully, expressing affection, harmony, and creativity without restriction. Since Venus also governs your 12th house of subconscious, dreams, and hidden emotions, this transit awakens deeper yearnings and artistic inspiration. You may be more reflective, imaginative, or drawn to solitude and beauty. For creators, writers, artists, or performers, this is an inspired period for translating emotion into art. Venus in Libra refines your aesthetic sense, merging intellect with elegance and emotional depth. Mercury's movements add a mental dimension. As your first house ruler, Mercury transits Scorpio, your sixth house of work and routine, through early November. This placement heightens analysis and problem solving. On November 10th, Mercury turns retrograde in Scorpio, causing delays in communication and daily organization. Then, on November 23rd, it retrogrades back into Libra, joining Venus in the fifth house just before Venus departs. This reunion blends intellect and emotion, prompting introspection about love, creativity, and expression. During this overlap, you may revisit old ideas or reconnect with past relationships. Mercury retrograde here encourages reflection rather than action. Feelings or creative impulses once suppressed may resurface for clarity. It's important to balance logic with empathy. Express what's in your heart, but avoid overanalyzing. Venus softens Mercury's mental restlessness, allowing heartfelt communication. Avoid impulsive romantic or financial choices until Mercury turns direct. Instead, refine projects or reconcile relationships through understanding. Meanwhile, Mars transits Scorpio, its own sign, activating your sixth house of duties and competition. This strengthens your drive and efficiency but can also heighten impatience. Mars rules your 6th and 11th houses, pushing you to work hard toward goals and assert yourself in professional environments. Venus in Libra counterbalances this energy, reminding you to relax and reconnect with pleasure. When channeled properly, Mars fuels productive achievements. Pair this determination with Venus's grace to avoid burnout and maintain emotional balance. At a broader level, Jupiter's retrograde in Cancer beginning November 11th influences your second house of values, family, and finances. It prompts a reassessment of how you define stability and abundance. You might review spending habits, family ties, or self-worth patterns. Jupiter encourages aligning material pursuits with emotional fulfillment. Since Venus in Libra heightens your desire for pleasure and beauty, moderation is important. Enjoy life without extravagance. For those in creative or communication fields, this combination may bring both inspiration and financial reward through talent, provided you act patiently and plan long-term. Saturn continues its retrograde in Pisces until November 28th, activating your 10th house of career and public reputation. This period inspires deep reflection about professional purpose and direction. You may feel uncertain about your next step or crave greater meaning in your work. Saturn retrograde helps you restructure goals and strengthen foundations. Together with Venus in the 5th house, it suggests your creativity could influence career growth. Those in teaching, entertainment, or media may rediscover passion in their vocation. Romantically, Venus in the 5th house stirs affection and attraction. Singles could meet someone charming through creative projects, social events, or online platforms. Mercury's retrograde cautions against rushing commitments. Reconnections and healing of past relationships are more favored than new beginnings. For couples, shared creative activities, heartfelt discussions, and playfulness can renew intimacy and understanding. Concerning children, the 5th house governs their well-being, and Venus here enhances harmony in parent-child relationships. You may feel pride in their growth or share joyful experiences. For those seeking conception, Venus's placement after November 16th is supportive, especially once the Sun moves out of Libra and Venus's strength is unobstructed. Health-wise, since Venus connects the 5th, emotions, and 12th, rest, subconscious, houses, emotional and mental balance becomes essential. Use creative outlets, music, journaling, art, or meditation, to process feelings. Avoid escapism or overindulgence, as the 12th house influence can tempt excessive pleasure. Instead, adopt routines that blend joy and discipline, such as dance or music. Financially, Jupiter retrograde in the 2nd and Venus in the 5th can bring expenses tied to leisure, children, or self-expression, yet also potential income through creativity. If you plan to monetize talents, this is the time to refine concepts and strategies before executing them after Mercury turns direct. Manage money thoughtfully and prioritize long-term stability over impulsive spending. As Venus leaves Libra on November 26th, you'll sense emotional closure and renewal. Your confidence in expressing creativity and affection strengthens. You understand what genuinely fulfills you and how to balance joy with responsibility. This transit brings warmth, inspiration, and refined self-expression that lingers beyond its duration. Overall, Venus's transit in Libra for Gemini first house marks a phase of creative awakening and emotional redefinition. You rediscover beauty through balance and express your heart with newfound clarity. For Cancer, Venus's transit through Libra illuminates the 4th house, the domain of home, emotions, family, comfort, and inner stability. Venus rules both your 4th house, Libra, and 11th house, Taurus, linking domestic peace and emotional security with friendships, ambitions, and long-term gains. As Venus enters her own sign, her grace, charm, and aesthetic harmony shine fully. The 4th house symbolizes the heart, physically and emotionally. When Venus, planet of love and beauty, occupies this space, your desire for peace, comfort, and affection deepens. You may feel drawn to redecorate or create a tranquil home environment. Many Cancer individuals will spend more time with family or find solace in familiar surroundings. Venus in Libra restores harmony where emotional equilibrium has been disturbed. Because Libra values fairness, misunderstandings with family, especially maternal figures, can now be healed through mutual empathy. The early phase of this transit carries a sensitive undercurrent as Venus conjoins the debilitated Sun in Libra. The Sun represents ego and authority, while Venus symbolizes harmony and cooperation. In the 4th house, their union may expose family tensions or emotional imbalance. You could feel undervalued or emotionally burdened. The first half of November may therefore bring subtle power struggles or moments of vulnerability, where pride or control issues within domestic life must be addressed. Yet Venus's dignity in her own sign gives you the power to restore peace. With your natural Cancerian empathy, you can transform friction into understanding. Once the Sun leaves Libra and moves into Scorpio on November 16th, Venus's energy becomes free and expressive. The home atmosphere lightens, emotions stabilize, and a renewed sense of warmth returns. The second half of the month is perfect for family bonding, self-care, and nurturing your sense of belonging. Since Venus also governs your 11th house of friendships and gains, this transit intertwines emotional fulfillment with social support. Friends may play a key role in uplifting your mood or helping you navigate personal issues. Financially, the link between the 4th and 11th houses supports steady gains from domestic assets, real estate, or creative ventures related to home design and aesthetics. You may invest in property improvement, luxury decor, or artistic indulgences that enhance comfort and beauty around you. Simultaneously, Mercury moves through Scorpio, your 5th house of creativity, romance, and children. On November 10th, Mercury turns retrograde and, on November 23rd, slips back into Libra, only days before Venus leaves the sign. This motion creates a direct bridge between your 4th and 5th houses, connecting emotional and creative expression. Mercury rules your 3rd and 12th houses, governing communication, thought, and distance. Its retrograde encourages introspection about emotional conversations, family relations, and past decisions involving property or loved ones. During this retrograde, unresolved domestic or emotional issues could resurface. You may reconnect with relatives or reconsider old plans related to your home or relocation. Because Mercury's backward motion overlaps Venus's final phase in Libra, avoid major real estate deals, family ultimatums, or emotionally charged commitments during the last week of November. Instead, reflect on what truly brings stability, and wait until Mercury turns direct before acting. Meanwhile, Mars in Scorpio, its own sign, energizes your 5th house, bringing passion, creativity, and determination. This fiery energy motivates you to pursue romantic interests, artistic hobbies, or projects that stir your emotions. It can also amplify mood swings or competitive instincts. The combination of Venus in the 4th and Mars in the 5th fuses heart and creativity, making you emotionally invested in everything you love or produce. Handle intensity with grace. Channel it into art, love, or purposeful work rather than conflict. Adding depth to the emotional current, Jupiter begins its retrograde in Cancer, your 1st house, on November 11th. This is a transformative event. Jupiter's introspection prompts you to reassess self-worth, personal growth, and emotional boundaries. As Jupiter aspects your 5th, 7th, and 9th houses, reflection extends to love, partnerships, and your life direction. This retrograde, combined with Venus's 4th house transit, creates a healing cycle, one that encourages nurturing yourself as deeply as you nurture others. You may finally recognize where you've overgiven or where balance in relationships needs restoration. Saturn's retrograde in Pisces until November 28th influences your 9th house of wisdom, faith, and long-distance connections. It slows external progress but deepens internal conviction, helping you clarify beliefs and life purpose. This energy complements Venus's domestic focus, real comfort stems from inner faith and emotional maturity, not just external security. Through this Saturnian introspection, you learn that peace begins in alignment between mind, soul, and home. On a psychological level, Venus in the 4th revives nostalgia. Old memories, childhood emotions, and unhealed patterns may resurface. But instead of emotional regression, this transit offers catharsis. By revisiting your past with compassion, you dissolve old wounds and make space for renewal. In relationships, this period enhances intimacy and understanding. Emotional bonds strengthen through gentleness and shared vulnerability. For couples, domestic harmony becomes a source of comfort and strength. Singles may seek emotional safety and sincerity over fleeting attraction, finding love through friendship or shared values. If there has been distance in family relationships, now is the time to rebuild trust and communication. Professionally, Venus's 4th house focus urges balance between career and emotional well-being. Because she also rules your 11th house of gains, success still manifests, especially through supportive networks or creative collaborations. But emotional fulfillment becomes your true compass. Those in home-based businesses, interior design, real estate, or counseling may thrive under this influence. If your career environment has drained you emotionally, Venus's energy encourages subtle restructuring toward work that feels harmonious and supportive. Financially, the combination of Venus's stable influence, Jupiter's reflection, and Mercury's retrograde calls for prudence. Property transactions, home investments, or luxury purchases should be carefully timed. Gains are steady but gradual, favoring strategic planning over risk. Review budgets and long-term assets, but avoid impulsive decisions until late November when planetary motion stabilizes. Health-wise, Venus's presence in the 4th rejuvenates emotional and physical well-being. The 4th house governs the chest, heart, and emotional center, areas where stress often manifests for Cancer individuals. Venus soothes tension, encouraging relaxation and joy. The early November Sun-Venus conjunction may heighten emotional sensitivity, so express feelings constructively rather than suppressing them. Gentle exercise, meditation, and artistic activities promote healing. As Venus exits Libra on November 26th, you emerge with renewed serenity and self-assurance. Emotional clarity, family reconnection, and inner peace define the close of this transit. You'll understand how your home and environment mirror your emotional state, inspiring you to maintain harmony both within and around you. Ultimately, Venus's journey through Libra invites Cancer individuals to rediscover the meaning of true comfort. It's a lesson in cultivating peace rather than seeking it externally. For Leo, Venus governs your 3rd and 10th houses, the domains of communication, courage, creativity, career, and public image. As Venus transits Libra, its own sign, it moves through your 3rd house, enhancing expression, networking, and intellectual pursuits. This period emphasizes elegant communication, artistic articulation, and social charm. You're likely to express ideas more persuasively, attract support through words, and connect with influential people. The Sun, your chart ruler, represents confidence and leadership. In Libra, its debilitation can momentarily blur your sense of authority or cause self-doubt about how others perceive you. This doesn't diminish your strength, it refines it. You may find yourself operating behind the scenes or needing to share credit, which can feel uncomfortable for a Sun-ruled sign. Yet this humility enhances your magnetism and credibility. The conjunction of Venus and the Sun gives a compelling aura, helping you influence others gracefully. Once the Sun enters Scorpio on November 16th, your confidence returns in a deeper, more emotionally grounded way, shifting your focus from external validation to authentic expression. Transiting Scorpio early in November, Mercury activates your 4th house of home and emotional security, making you introspective and reflective. On November 10th, Mercury turns retrograde, prompting you to reassess communication, family dynamics, and emotional priorities. By November 23rd, Mercury retrogrades back into Libra, re-entering your 3rd house just before Venus exits. This back-and-forth motion encourages revisiting unfinished projects, messages, or creative ideas from earlier in the month. Misunderstandings with siblings or coworkers are possible, but the retrograde also helps refine your voice and message. When Mercury reunites with Venus in Libra, diplomacy returns, allowing you to resolve conflicts with grace and precision. Mars, ruling your 4th and 9th houses, transits Scorpio, its own sign, energizing your emotional foundation. You may feel driven to reorganize your home, strengthen family ties, or pursue inner stability. Mars in Scorpio intensifies private emotions, often revealing suppressed desires or frustrations. Channel this energy into productive outlets, home projects, exercise, or creative focus, rather than control or confrontation. When the Sun joins Mars and Mercury in Scorpio on November 16th, your determination strengthens. You become more emotionally anchored, and this stability enhances how you communicate and assert yourself externally. The theme of this month is alignment. Your inner peace fuels your outer power. Jupiter, planet of wisdom and expansion, continues its transit through Cancer, your 12th house of rest, spirituality, and introspection. This placement emphasizes inner growth over worldly progress. You're being encouraged to step back, heal, and reconnect with faith. On November 11th, Jupiter turns retrograde, deepening self-reflection and spiritual realignment. It may slow visible progress but enhances intuition and creative clarity. Since Venus rules your 10th house of career and now transits your 3rd house, your professional growth depends more on ideas and communication than on visible achievements. The seeds you plant now, especially through writing, content creation, or outreach, will flourish once Jupiter moves direct again. Meanwhile, Saturn retrogrades in Pisces until November 28th, continuing its transformative influence in your 8th house. This period tests emotional endurance and teaches detachment from fears, dependencies, or past attachments. You've likely been confronting uncomfortable truths about trust, finances, or intimacy. With Saturn in a water sign, healing happens through patience and emotional maturity. Its aspect to your 10th house reminds you that true authority comes from integrity, not dominance. Venus's harmonious presence in your 3rd house helps soften communication during heavy emotional exchanges. When Saturn turns direct toward the end of November, you'll notice greater stability and clarity in both finances and emotional commitments. Relationships and collaborations benefit from Venus's grace this month. The 3rd house emphasizes shared ideas, open dialogue, and mutual understanding. You might find yourself more active socially, reconnecting with peers or engaging in creative collaborations. Because Venus also rules your 10th house, your charm and diplomacy could attract professional opportunities through networking or communication-based work. Your ability to mediate and connect becomes a major strength, but the debilitated Sun warns against overasserting pride. Listen as much as you speak, and relationships, both personal and professional, will thrive. Romantically, Venus in Libra softens communication and brings sweetness to how you express affection. You may feel drawn to express love through words, messages, or shared creative projects. Short trips or new social circles could bring encounters with people who inspire or challenge your thinking. Yet with Ketu currently transiting your sign, Leo, a sense of detachment accompanies emotional experiences. Ketu's influence can make you introspective about your identity in relationships, less concerned with attention, more with authenticity. This spiritual refinement helps you understand love as mutual respect and shared growth, rather than validation. Venus's grace ensures harmony as long as you remain honest and receptive. Financially, this period favors income from communication, creativity, writing, or digital media. Venus's influence supports successful negotiations and smooth client relations. Mercury's retrograde cautions against rushing deals or making impulsive financial promises. Review contracts carefully and seek clarity in all exchanges. If you're considering launching a new initiative, the early part of the Venus transit, before November 10th, is ideal. After Mercury's retrograde begins, focus on refining details rather than executing major decisions. Once Venus moves on and Mercury turns direct, results will begin to materialize. Emotionally and spiritually, this transit marks an awakening in how your thoughts shape your world. Venus in Libra teaches that beauty lies in balance, between expression and listening, assertion and grace. Combined with Jupiter in your 12th and Ketu in your 1st, this period highlights the importance of ego transcendence. You're learning to communicate from the heart rather than for applause. The more your words come from authenticity, the more magnetic your influence becomes. Even brief journeys or conversations during this time may lead to meaningful realizations or fated connections that shift your outlook. As November progresses, the energy deepens. The Sun's entry into Scorpio on November 16th turns focus toward emotional security, while Mercury's return to Libra on November 23rd brings a final round of reflection. Old conversations, collaborations, or even relationships may reappear for closure or renewal. By the time Venus completes its transit, you'll have developed greater emotional intelligence, refined communication skills, and a clearer understanding of how to align your message with your values. Overall, Venus's transit through Libra is a graceful yet introspective chapter for Leo individuals. It enhances charm, communication, and professional magnetism while encouraging humility through the sun's debilitation. This period refines your voice, helping you express truth without ego, lead with empathy, and inspire through authenticity. For Virgo, Venus's transit through Libra activates your second house, the domain of wealth, speech, family, and self-worth. Venus rules both your second and ninth houses, linking values and fortune, and her passage through her own sign brings prosperity, grace, and moral alignment. This transit enhances financial stability, beauty, and domestic peace, inviting you to cultivate refinement in how you earn, spend, and express yourself. The second house stores your material and emotional resources. When Venus moves through Libra, you tend to attract abundance effortlessly and develop a stronger desire for comfort, art, and balance. You may invest in home decor, luxury items, or family well-being, yet Venus here encourages mindful spending, preferring quality over excess. Use this influence to bring long-term harmony into your surroundings and relationships. The first half of November may feel complicated as Venus conjuncts the debilitated Sun in Libra. The Sun, ruler of your 12th house of losses and expenses, can initially bring financial uncertainty or self-doubt. There might be tension around family decisions or ego clashes, as if your contributions aren't fully valued. On a personal level, this conjunction could briefly affect energy and confidence. The key lesson is balance. Venus in Libra favors diplomacy and patience over control. Allow discussions to flow without defensiveness. After mid-November, as the Sun enters Scorpio, Venus's full strength restores clarity and warmth. Family understanding deepens, and your voice gains influence. Mercury, your chart ruler, transits Scorpio, your third house of communication, then retrogrades on November 10th before returning to Libra on November 23rd. Because Mercury governs logic and expression, and Venus rules your values, this movement highlights reflection in speech and finances. When Mercury re-enters Libra near month's end, you may revisit earlier decisions or family discussions. This is an ideal time to review financial strategies, correct misunderstandings, and refine how you communicate your needs. Avoid impulsive spending or sharp words during the retrograde. Instead, focus on clarity and reconciliation. Mars in Scorpio energizes your third house throughout the month, intensifying willpower, motivation, and assertiveness in communication. This fiery energy makes your words persuasive but sometimes forceful. Balancing Mars's intensity with Venus's grace will be vital, especially in discussions or negotiations. Together, these influences give courage to express your truth, though diplomacy remains essential after mid-November, when Venus regains full strength. Jupiter's retrograde in Cancer, beginning November 11th, influences your 11th house of gains and aspirations. It prompts you to reassess goals, friendships, and income sources. Since Venus governs both your second and ninth houses, both wealth-giving, Jupiter's introspection aligns with long-term financial wisdom. You might reconnect with former allies or benefit from earlier efforts. Delayed rewards, thoughtful planning, and philosophical insights about abundance are likely outcomes. Saturn's retrograde in Pisces continues in your 7th house of partnerships until November 28th, teaching patience and accountability in relationships. This influence, alongside Venus in your 2nd house, emphasizes shared values in marriage or business. Discussions around mutual finances, boundaries, or emotional support may arise. Saturn reminds you that true prosperity also means relational and emotional balance, not just financial gain. Financially, this is a strong month, especially after mid-November. Venus in Libra attracts earnings and stability. The 2nd house governs savings and family wealth, so income can increase or stabilize. Those in creative, financial, luxury, or aesthetic professions benefit most. Mercury's retrograde may cause temporary confusion or payment delays. Review documents carefully and avoid major new ventures until clarity returns. On the domestic front, Venus fosters peace and affection. Expect smoother family interactions, pleasant gatherings, or resolution of old disputes. Early in the month, the Sun-Venus conjunction might spark disagreements with elders or authority figures, but maintaining composure will help restore harmony. By the second half, warmth returns, strengthening emotional bonds and mutual respect. Venus's transit also refines your speech and presence. The second house governs voice, and Venus in Libra makes your words melodic, persuasive, and tactful. This is an excellent period for communication-related pursuits, teaching, writing, counseling, marketing, or public speaking. Your tone carries charm and balance, though during Mercury's retrograde, extra care is needed to prevent miscommunication. In love and relationships, Venus's rulership of both fortune and values brings emotional stability and shared understanding. Partnerships may become more grounded, with discussions around finances or future plans. Singles could attract someone through family, art, or intellectual circles, connections that feel both secure and meaningful. Late in the month, Mercury's return to Libra enhances emotional communication, bringing heartfelt conversations or reconciliations. Health-wise, the second house also represents food and nourishment. Venus here heightens sensual pleasure and appetite, possibly leading to indulgence. Enjoy comfort foods in moderation to maintain balance. The sun's early debilitation may momentarily lower energy, but once it leaves Libra, vitality returns. Venus inspires self-care, beauty routines, fitness, and overall well-being become more appealing, aligning body and mind with inner harmony. Spiritually, Venus's dual rulership reminds you that prosperity is most fulfilling when aligned with Dharma. This transit blends material and moral awareness, teaching that gratitude and grace attract abundance. With Jupiter retrograde in your 11th house, you may reflect on your ideals, how your beliefs shape your wealth and relationships. Philosophical or spiritual study could deepen, bringing insight into your life's purpose and the meaning of prosperity. In the final week of November, Mercury's retrograde return to Libra reunites it with Venus in your second house, urging reflection over reaction. You might reconnect with past relationships or reevaluate old financial patterns. Rather than making quick decisions, observe what resurfaces. Some matters may need closure, others revision. When Venus enters Scorpio after November 26th, communication gains emotional depth, and you'll be ready to act with renewed conviction. Overall, Venus's passage through Libra blesses Virgo with a month of balance, refinement, and steady growth. Early doubts give way to clarity and confidence as Venus strengthens. Finances stabilize, family relationships improve, and your speech becomes more magnetic and persuasive. Jupiter, Mercury and Saturn's retrograde motions ask for maturity and introspection, urging you to align material pursuits with ethical values. By the end of the month, you'll feel more centered, self-assured, and emotionally fulfilled. This is a period to rediscover your inner grace, speak with sincerity, act with integrity, and let harmony guide both your words and your wealth. For Libra, Venus's transit through Libra marks one of the most empowering phases of the year. Venus is your first house lord, symbolizing identity, charm, relationships, and balance. Moving through your first house of self-expression and health, Venus returns home, aligning you with your natural grace and equilibrium. Your presence now attracts admiration, cooperation, and opportunities. Confidence rises, and your aura feels brighter, making it easier to connect and be received positively. Yet this transit also holds depth. Venus governs both your first house and 8th house of transformation and emotional rebirth. So, while it enhances your outer radiance, it also initiates inner healing. You're invited to integrate hidden emotions and redefine self-worth and intimacy. This is a period of both beauty and psychological renewal, powerful but introspective. At the start of the transit, Venus conjoins the debilitated Sun in Libra. The Sun, ruling your 11th house of networks and aspirations, feels uneasy here, creating temporary tension in self-expression. You may feel overshadowed or uncertain about asserting yourself, or face ego-related friction in friendships or social circles. The Sun's debilitation can blur clarity or heighten sensitivity to others' opinions. Venus in her own sign holds the upper hand, and her grace gradually softens the Sun's harsh edges. By mid-November, when the Sun enters Scorpio, you regain composure, confidence, and clarity about your direction. Venus then shines fully, restoring harmony to both your mind and relationships. Because Venus governs love and relationships, this period renews emotional warmth and magnetism. You naturally attract attention and admiration. For couples, this is an ideal time to heal differences and restore emotional balance. For singles, new attractions may emerge through charm and shared understanding. The 8th house influence adds emotional depth. Relationships gain vulnerability and authenticity. Early November may still bring heightened sensitivity, So avoid ego clashes until the Sun leaves Libra. Meanwhile, Mercury transits Scorpio, your second house of speech and finance, and turns retrograde on November 10th. This can complicate communication around money or family. On November 23rd, Mercury retrogrades back into Libra, just before Venus exits, creating an important overlap. This return to your first house prompts reflection on identity, communication, and self-expression. You may rethink how you present yourself or how you articulate feelings. The Mercury-Venus combination enhances charm, wit, and persuasiveness but also cautions against hasty words or commitments during retrograde. Use this phase to refine, not rush. Mars, transiting its own sign Scorpio in your second house, adds passion and assertiveness in financial and family matters. You'll feel driven to improve income or speak your truth. Yet Mars can also make speech sharp or impulsive. With Venus emphasizing diplomacy in the first house, success lies in balancing firmness with tact. Used wisely, this Mars-Venus dynamic brings productive outcomes, courage tempered by grace. Jupiter's retrograde in Cancer, starting November 11th, influences your 10th house of career and recognition. This retrograde prompts reevaluation of your professional path, goals, and mentors. Since Venus governs both your self-image and transformative 8th house, you may undergo inner reflection about your career direction or purpose. Professionally, Venus in your first house enhances charm and leadership presence, helping you connect with clients, colleagues, or superiors. Recognition may come through diplomacy, creativity, or conflict resolution. Saturn's retrograde in Pisces continues in your 6th house of work, service, and health until November 28th, grounding Venus's otherwise airy energy. It asks for discipline, responsibility, and self-care. While Venus boosts popularity, Saturn reminds you that true balance comes from consistency and effort. This combination urges you to refine habits, manage stress, and maintain health. Avoid overindulgence or procrastination. Steady routines sustain the beauty Venus inspires. In terms of vitality, Venus in your first house uplifts energy, mood, and appearance. You may feel inspired to enhance your health or appearance, perhaps through skincare, fitness, or style upgrades. The Sun's early presence in Libra may initially sap vitality. Rest, hydration, and mindfulness help restore balance. By mid-November, energy flows freely, and you radiate calm confidence. Financially, Mars in the 2nd house and Jupiter retrograde in the 10th highlight review and adjustment. Venus in the first draws opportunities through charm rather than effort. People are inclined to support or collaborate with you. Still, during Mercury's retrograde, double-check agreements and avoid impulsive financial moves. Venus ensures prosperity when fairness and patience guide your actions, particularly in business or negotiation settings. Romantically, this is one of the most magnetic periods of the year. Venus in the first house enhances allure, empathy, and emotional openness. Singles may attract admirers easily, though some connections may resurface from the past for emotional closure rather than permanence, especially around Mercury's retrograde. For couples, Venus encourages reconnection, intimacy, and understanding. As ruler of your 8th house, Venus deepens bonds, merging passion with emotional healing. Spiritually, Venus's dual rulership ties self-love with transformation. This period reminds you that peace arises from authenticity and integration, not perfection. Emotional or psychological healing becomes central, releasing old patterns to restore inner harmony. You may feel drawn to introspective or esoteric practices such as meditation, astrology, or therapy to better understand your emotional rhythms. True beauty now stems from self-awareness. When Mercury re-enters Libra on November 23rd, the final days of this transit turn reflective. You may reconnect with significant people or reevaluate how you communicate and express affection. This period allows closure, forgiveness, or renewed clarity before Venus moves into Scorpio on November 26th, where her tone becomes more introspective and private. By the end of November, the initial uncertainty caused by the debilitated Sun gives way to self-assurance and inner peace. You emerge more grounded, radiant, and emotionally clear. Venus helps you integrate confidence with compassion. Your outer charm now reflects genuine self-acceptance. Relationships stabilize, creativity thrives, and your communication feels natural and persuasive. Overall, the Venus transit through Libra for Libra individuals is a profound homecoming, both external and internal. It rejuvenates self-image, restores harmony in relationships, and strengthens your presence in the world. The early part of November may test your poise through ego challenges, but by mid-month you regain balance and shine with renewed grace. Your greatest strength lies not in striving, but in harmony, and during this Venusian return, the more you embody balance, the more effortlessly life aligns with you. For Scorpio, Venus rules the 7th and 12th houses and will be transiting through the 12th house in Libra during this period. This transit holds deep karmic, emotional, and spiritual significance, as both the 7th and 12th houses deal with unions, relationships, and dissolution, one governing partnerships and the other representing endings, seclusion, and the subconscious world. When Venus, the planet of love, comfort, and harmony, passes through the 12th house in its own sign Libra, it opens a highly reflective phase, urging you to look within and evaluate your connections, desires, and spiritual needs. You may find yourself drawn to peace, solitude, or artistic inspiration that comes from being away from the external chaos. This transit can also intensify escapism or indulgence if emotions are not handled with balance. The presence of debilitated Sun in Libra alongside Venus adds an intriguing contrast. The Sun, when weak, dims confidence and may bring feelings of being unrecognized or underappreciated, especially in relationships. Since the Sun represents your ego and vitality, you might feel overshadowed by others' opinions or find it hard to assert yourself. Yet, Venus being strong in Libra helps to soften these challenges by encouraging diplomacy, forgiveness, and charm. There can be situations where you feel the need to withdraw from confrontations and allow peace to prevail. This might also lead to avoidance of necessary conversations, especially with close partners or business associates. For some Scorpios, this can mark a period of healing after emotional strain, particularly if the past few months have involved misunderstandings or emotional exhaustion in personal life. Because the 12th house represents foreign connections and travel, Venus here can bring opportunities related to overseas ventures, artistic collaborations, or spiritual retreats. If you are involved in fields like art, design, fashion, healing, or counseling, this can be a time of creative breakthrough and deep emotional productivity. You may work behind the scenes on something beautiful or prepare for a new chapter that will soon manifest when Venus enters your first house. Financially, the 12th house is also linked with expenditure, and Venus here can increase your tendency to spend on luxury, beauty, or pleasure. While you may enjoy indulging yourself, moderation will be necessary, as this combination can easily lead to financial leakage or impulsive buying, especially under emotional stress. The transit of Mars, your ruling planet, in its own sign Scorpio adds strength and vitality to your personality. Mars' fiery determination counterbalances the softer energy of Venus, helping you take charge of your inner world and assert control where needed. This can also intensify your passions, both in love and anger. When Venus, love, and Mars, desire, operate simultaneously, emotions become heightened. You may experience deep intimacy, rekindling of romance, or even secret relationships that bring emotional confusion. The 12th house naturally hides things, so some Scorpios might be drawn toward private connections or romantic escapades that are not yet ready for public visibility. Mercury's movement adds a layer of introspection. It currently transits Scorpio, your sign, bringing sharp mental focus and deep psychological insight. Once Mercury retrogrades in Scorpio on November 10th, and then moves backward into Libra on November 23rd, just before Venus exits Libra, there may be moments of reflection and emotional reevaluation. Old conversations or relationships could resurface for closure. If you've been repressing certain feelings or avoiding discussions, Mercury's retrograde motion will bring them back into awareness. Since Mercury joins Venus in Libra briefly, communication with loved ones could become emotionally charged but also healing if handled with maturity. It's important to choose your words carefully, as misunderstandings can arise due to assumptions or misinterpretations. Adding to this astrological landscape, Jupiter is transiting Cancer, a sign of exaltation, bringing wisdom, higher learning, and spiritual growth to your 9th house. This position is auspicious for inner awakening, foreign travel, or deep philosophical insights. Since Jupiter turns retrograde on November 11th, the emphasis shifts inward. You may question your belief systems, moral compass, or long-term goals. For Scorpio individuals, this retrograde can bring spiritual clarity but also delay external progress in education, travel, or mentorship-related matters. When combined with Venus in the 12th, this energy greatly amplifies your spiritual and intuitive faculties, making it a potent time for meditation, solitude, and healing rituals. Meanwhile, Saturn continues its retrograde journey in Pisces until November 28th, impacting your 5th house of creativity, self-expression, and love. This transit teaches patience and emotional discipline in personal affairs. Saturn's backward motion reminds you to take responsibility for your emotions and creative pursuits. It encourages you to build structure around your talents rather than relying solely on inspiration. When Venus in Libra activates your 12th house, you may feel nostalgic about past love affairs or artistic dreams that were once abandoned. Saturn's influence helps you assess them realistically and prepare to rebuild with stronger foundations once it turns direct. During this entire period, the combination of retrograde planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and later Mercury, creates an introspective and karmic undertone. For Scorpio, this means revisiting emotional and spiritual patterns that may have limited growth in the past. It's a beautiful time to release attachment to past guilt, resentment, or hidden fears. The 12th house, governed by Venus's current transit, is the area of subconscious healing. Dreams may become more vivid, guiding you toward unresolved emotions. Those in therapy, spiritual practice, or creative professions could find this period immensely transformative, as Venus in Libra blesses you with the grace to bring harmony to your inner world. In relationships, this transit can stir deep emotions and hidden desires. You might feel both romantic and vulnerable at the same time. For those in committed relationships, it can highlight unspoken issues or emotional distance that needs addressing. Honesty and empathy will be key to maintaining balance. For singles, it might awaken romantic feelings for someone unavailable or distant, either emotionally or geographically. It's best to avoid rushing into relationships during this period, as the 12th house tends to cloud judgment. True love will reveal itself through understanding and patience rather than immediate attraction. Health-wise, the 12th house governs rest and recovery. This is a time to prioritize mental peace, good sleep, and relaxation. Overexertion, whether emotional or physical, can weaken your vitality, especially since the debilitated sun may lower energy levels. Spa treatments, meditation, or time spent in nature can rejuvenate you. Venus supports healing through beauty and calm surroundings, so redesigning your personal space or incorporating soothing colors like pastel pinks and blues can have a positive effect. Overall, Venus transiting Libra in your 12th house brings a mystical and emotionally charged phase for Scorpio individuals. It's a time of letting go, introspection, and quiet healing before a new cycle begins when Venus enters your sign. As Mars strengthens your courage and Jupiter expands your spiritual perspective, you are being guided to connect with your higher self and release attachments that no longer serve your evolution. By embracing solitude and inner beauty, you'll prepare to emerge renewed, ready for the brighter beginnings that await once Venus crosses into Scorpio. For Sagittarius, Venus rules the 6th and 11th houses and will be transiting through the 11th house in Libra during this period. This is one of the most socially and materially promising placements for Venus, as the 11th house is the domain of gains, achievements, ambitions, and social networks. When Venus, the planet of pleasure, creativity, luxury, and relationships, moves through this sector, it enhances your ability to connect harmoniously with others and attract opportunities through your social circle or community. Libra, being Venus's own sign, adds extra charm, grace, and diplomacy to your interactions, helping you gain recognition for your efforts and form valuable alliances. The conjunction of Venus with the debilitated Sun in Libra adds an interesting dynamic to this period. The Sun, when weak, can make you feel as though your leadership or self-esteem is being tested within your social or professional network. You may notice tension between wanting recognition and wanting harmony. While you might feel overshadowed or underappreciated at first, Venus's strong presence ensures that diplomacy and grace will ultimately bring you more success than force or ego. During this time, people may naturally gravitate toward your charm, making you a mediator or peacebringer in your circle. Still, you'll need to avoid over-accommodating others at the expense of your boundaries, as the 6th Lord's influence can draw people with hidden agendas or competitive motives into your sphere. The 11th house also governs income from career and the fulfillment of desires, so Venus's presence here often improves financial flow, especially through social connections, collaborations, or projects involving creativity, design, or the public. You may receive monetary rewards for past efforts, or an important person could play a key role in opening doors for you. If you are in media, art, marketing, or diplomacy-related professions, this period can bring visibility and appreciation. Because Venus also represents indulgence, it's wise to keep spending habits under control. As Venus in Libra increases your desire for refinement, you may be tempted to spend more on appearances, comfort, or luxury. The debilitated Sun could make you crave validation through material possessions or social approval, so staying grounded will help prevent financial imbalances. Currently, Mercury is moving through Scorpio, your 12th house, sharpening your intuition and prompting behind-the-scenes thinking. On November 10th, Mercury retrogrades in Scorpio, inviting deep reflection on past choices or unfinished work. This may bring temporary confusion or delays in communication, especially with coworkers or associates. Once Mercury retrogrades into Libra on November 23rd, just 3 days before Venus leaves Libra, it joins Venus in your 11th house, symbolizing the return of old friends, reconnection with past networks, or reconsideration of previous plans. This brief overlap offers a chance to reconcile differences or revive a project that was once left incomplete. Be cautious about making commitments during Mercury's retrograde motion, as what seems like a great opportunity could require revision later. Mars, your 5th and 12th lord, transits Scorpio during this time, activating your subconscious mind and heightening emotional intensity. This combination gives you the drive to work persistently behind the scenes toward your long-term goals, but it may also stir hidden frustrations or restlessness. Since Mars is in its own sign, your stamina and willpower are strong, but you might prefer to operate discreetly rather than overtly competing. This can actually work in your favor, as Venus in the 11th house rewards those who combine charm with strategy. You should guard against burnout or mental fatigue, as Mars in the 12th house can sometimes lead to overexertion, escapism, or sleep disturbances. Meanwhile, Jupiter, your ruling planet, is transiting through Cancer, placed in your 8th house, a deeply transformative zone. Jupiter in this position intensifies inner awareness, emotional healing, and the understanding of life's deeper patterns. It's also a position that connects you with research, occult studies, or topics of psychology and hidden truths. Jupiter will turn retrograde on November 11th, slowing down external progress but enhancing introspection. For Sagittarius individuals, this retrograde phase calls for deep emotional reflection and spiritual realignment rather than rushing to expand outwardly. Combined with Venus in the 11th house, it indicates that your gains will come from inner clarity and wise associations, aligning with people who share your long-term vision rather than superficial connections. Saturn continues its retrograde in Pisces until November 28th, influencing your 4th house of home, emotional peace, and personal stability. This can sometimes bring inner restlessness, or a feeling that your personal foundation is being restructured. You may be dealing with domestic responsibilities or family matters that require patience and maturity. Since Saturn governs discipline and emotional endurance, it's reminding you to create balance between your public and private life. Venus's transit in Libra can make you more socially active, but Saturn's position asks you not to neglect your emotional grounding in the process. From a relational perspective, Venus in the 11th house enhances your charm and makes you more attractive within social groups. You may find that people are drawn to your positivity and grace. This can be a period where friendships turn into romantic possibilities or where love flourishes through social settings, events, or group activities. Because Venus also governs your 6th house of conflict and differences, not all relationships will be easy. There may be competition or power struggles disguised as camaraderie. For those in committed relationships, your partner might be seeking more attention or recognition. For entrepreneurs and business professionals, this transit can bring networking success, profitable collaborations, and an expansion of clientele. If you've been working toward a major goal, results may start to materialize, though patience will still be required because of the retrograde motion of Jupiter and Saturn. Venus ensures that charm and negotiation skills will play an important role in your success, so avoid aggressive tactics and instead lean into diplomacy. You may also attract influential supporters or mentors who recognize your efforts. The debilitated Sun may cause you to feel temporarily overlooked, but as Venus continues to dominate, your grace and tact will ultimately win over the right people. Health-wise, since Venus governs your 6th house of wellness, you'll need to pay attention to balance. Overindulgence in food, socializing, or comfort may affect physical health. The combination of retrograde Saturn and Jupiter can also slow down your energy levels, reminding you to focus on rest and nutrition. Mental fatigue may arise due to juggling too many social or professional commitments. Spiritually, this transit encourages you to redefine your idea of success and happiness. The 11th house often deals with aspirations, what we hope to achieve, And Venus here reminds you that joy should come not just from material gains but from the quality of relationships and emotional satisfaction. Overall, Venus's transit in Libra marks a graceful, socially enriching, and financially supportive phase for Sagittarius individuals. It helps you attract opportunities through charm and diplomacy while teaching you to navigate competition with poise. With multiple planets retrograding, much of this period will be about reflection, alignment, and emotional maturity rather than quick results. For Capricorn, Venus's transit through Libra marks an important and career-defining phase. As ruler of both your 5th and 10th houses, Venus moves through its own sign in your 10th house of karma, profession, and public reputation. This alignment enhances grace, diplomacy, and creative authority in your professional sphere, while also testing your poise through subtle challenges brought by the debilitated Sun in Libra. It's a month where charm and refinement become your greatest strengths, helping you attract success without force. The focus is on balance, between ambition and humility, leadership and cooperation, visibility and emotional intelligence. Venus in Libra elevates your professional image, encouraging collaboration and a polished approach to work. Your poise, fairness, and people skills become valuable assets, helping you win admiration and trust from colleagues and superiors. Opportunities may arise where your aesthetic sense, creativity, or ability to mediate conflicts sets you apart. Since Venus governs both your 10th house of career and 5th house of creativity, your professional efforts may take on a more artistic, innovative quality. This could manifest through design, management, leadership, or any field that blends intellect with elegance. The 10th house being a Kendra ensures Venus's presence yields tangible results, especially when backed by consistent effort and a calm, diplomatic tone. The conjunction with the debilitated Sun introduces a sensitive undercurrent. The Sun, representing ego and authority, struggles in Libra's area of balance and compromise. You might initially feel underappreciated or overshadowed, particularly by superiors or dominant personalities. There can be moments when your individuality feels suppressed, or recognition for your work seems delayed. Yet Venus's strength restores harmony and turns such challenges into opportunities to lead with quiet confidence. Instead of asserting authority, you'll find that composure and grace carry greater influence. This period teaches that leadership built on harmony and tact endures far longer than one driven by ego. Once the Sun enters Scorpio after November 16th, your sense of direction strengthens, and professional interactions become more strategic and emotionally grounded. Transiting through your 11th house in Scorpio, Mercury activates themes of gains, social connections, and long-term aspirations. On November 10th, it turns retrograde, prompting a reevaluation of goals, networks, and collaborative ventures. You may reconnect with influential contacts or revisit plans that were set aside earlier. When Mercury retrogrades back into Libra on November 23rd, it joins Venus in your 10th house, offering a brief yet meaningful overlap before Venus exits on November 26th. This conjunction brings clarity to past miscommunications and second chances in professional negotiations or partnerships. Recognition for earlier efforts might finally arrive, or stalled projects could move forward. Yet, Mercury retrograde also demands caution. Review contracts, double-check correspondence, and avoid hasty decisions. Its brief union with Venus sharpens persuasion and diplomacy, ideal for resolving professional or public misunderstandings. Mars's transit in its own sign Scorpio further energizes your 11th house, infusing your ambitions with passion and drive. This placement enhances your determination to achieve goals and expand your social and professional network. The energy is competitive, ambitious, and intense, excellent for progress but potentially volatile if not tempered with patience. Venus's softening influence helps you channel this intensity productively, allowing you to achieve results through charm rather than conflict. Together, Mars's drive and Venus's diplomacy form a powerful dynamic for success when used in balance. Meanwhile, Jupiter continues its transit through Cancer, your 7th house of partnerships and contracts, influencing how you connect with others in both business and personal life. This transit generally supports alliances, mentoring relationships, and collaborations that enhance your growth. With Jupiter turning retrograde on November 11th, progress may temporarily slow, requiring reflection and fine-tuning of joint ventures or agreements. For Capricorn, this phase highlights the need to clarify expectations, set healthy boundaries, and redefine your approach to teamwork. Since Jupiter governs your 12th and 3rd houses, its retrograde can deepen intuition and emphasize communication reform. This reflective pause encourages you to seek wisdom rather than expansion, understanding the purpose behind each partnership before pursuing new ones. Revisiting old professional connections or renegotiating existing terms can open valuable doors later in the month. Saturn, your ruling planet, remains retrograde in Pisces until November 28th, influencing your third house of communication, initiative, and effort. This phase emphasizes patience and strategic planning over immediate action. You might feel temporarily slowed down or experience delays in smaller projects, yet this is Saturn's way of ensuring long-term stability. As it aspects your 9th, 5th, and 12th houses, Saturn encourages disciplined thinking, intellectual maturity, and deeper self-awareness. By the time it turns direct at month's end, you'll feel more grounded and confident in implementing your plans. Saturn's introspective influence harmonizes well with Venus's diplomatic tone, teaching that enduring success comes from structure, perseverance, and emotional balance. On the personal front, Venus's transit through your 10th house can blend themes of love and reputation. Since Venus governs both the 5th and 10th houses, romance may intersect with professional life. You might attract attention through your work or develop a deeper emotional connection with someone within your social or career circle. For those already in relationships, balancing ambition and intimacy becomes important. The debilitated Sun can bring moments of ego sensitivity or distance, but once Venus moves away from the Sun's influence, emotional equilibrium is restored. Acts of care, understanding, and mutual appreciation strengthen existing bonds, helping love evolve through shared goals rather than dependency. Financially, this period carries promise and potential growth. The combined strength of Venus and Mars activates your 10th and 11th houses, boosting opportunities for earnings through creativity, leadership, or entrepreneurial ventures. The 5th house connection adds speculative potential, favoring intelligent investments made with foresight. Yet with Jupiter and Saturn both retrograde, large-scale or risky ventures require caution and expert guidance. Prioritize steady gains over impulsive moves. Venus's influence may also inspire spending on beauty, comfort, or workspace enhancements, which can be beneficial if done mindfully and not excessively. Health remains stable under Venus's balancing effect, though professional stress might occasionally weigh on your vitality. Saturn's retrograde reminds you to maintain structure in diet, rest, and routine. Gentle physical activity, creative expression, or time in nature helps sustain your inner balance. Ultimately, Venus's transit through Libra in your 10th house is a time of professional refinement, karmic advancement, and emotional maturity. It grants recognition through grace, progress through cooperation, and wisdom through reflection. Though the debilitated Sun may briefly challenge your confidence, Venus's strength ensures balance is restored. By blending ambition with kindness and structure with charm, you elevate not only your career but your entire way of engaging with the world, emerging more composed, respected, and fulfilled than before. For Aquarius, Venus governs the 4th and 9th houses, symbolizing comfort, peace of mind, higher learning, fortune, and dharma. When Venus transits Libra, its own sign, it moves through your 9th house, the area of wisdom, travel, and spiritual expansion. This is a fortunate placement, as Venus gains strength in a trinal house, amplifying luck, learning, and inspiration. You may feel renewed optimism, as though life itself is guiding you toward new understanding. Venus in Libra refines your beliefs and inspires appreciation for truth, art, and culture. Venus in Libra broadens your horizons, drawing your attention to foreign lands, education, and subjects that enrich your worldview. This period favors studies in philosophy, astrology, spirituality, or global culture, and also enhances your creativity in writing, teaching, or publishing. The Sun's debilitation in Libra until mid-November may create tension between confidence and modesty. You might doubt your authority or question if your voice carries weight. Venus softens this with diplomacy, teaching that influence comes not through dominance but through grace, empathy, and understanding. A shift occurs on November 16th when the Sun joins Mercury and Mars in Scorpio, your 10th house of career and public reputation. With Mars already strong in its own sign, ambition intensifies. You'll feel driven to achieve, gaining recognition through sustained effort. This alignment marks a phase of professional transformation, where your actions carry long-term impact. Balancing Venus's 9th house influence with this surge of ambition is essential. Stay grounded in integrity and ethics as you pursue success. The combination reminds you that achievement without higher purpose loses meaning. Mercury's motion adds both depth and challenge. Early in November, Mercury transits Scorpio, sharpening your strategic thinking at work. But from November 10th, Mercury retrogrades, which may bring miscommunication or delays with colleagues or superiors. Patience and clarity in speech are key. On November 23rd, Mercury moves back into Libra, reconnecting with Venus just before it exits the sign. This overlap reopens themes of learning and faith, prompting you to revisit ideas, opportunities, or mentors that shaped your direction in the past. Old writing, travel, or study plans may resurface, now ready for refinement or completion. Mars's transit through Scorpio continues to energize your 10th house, pushing you to lead with conviction. You may take bold initiatives and assert yourself more visibly in professional circles. Mars here grants courage and endurance but also tests your composure. Avoid reacting impulsively to challenges or perceived competition. Venus's influence from Libra reminds you to temper intensity with tact. Diplomacy will yield better outcomes than confrontation. When channeled properly, this combination of drive and wisdom can elevate your status and deepen your professional influence. Meanwhile, Jupiter transits Cancer, your 6th house of service, health, and discipline, emphasizing work ethics and responsibility. When Jupiter turns retrograde on November 11th, outer progress may slow, urging introspection instead. You'll reassess how you manage time, obligations, and energy. From this position, Jupiter aspects your 10th, 12th, and 2nd houses, quietly influencing career, spirituality, and finances. The retrograde, paired with Venus's 9th house presence, signals that inner growth and clarity of purpose precede external success. Even if results feel delayed, this period is aligning you with a more meaningful professional or spiritual path. Saturn, your ruling planet, continues its retrograde in Pisces, your 2nd house of values, speech, and income, until November 28th. This period deepens your focus on financial responsibility, self-worth, and communication. You may reevaluate what stability truly means, not only in material terms but also emotionally and spiritually. Saturn retrograde asks for patience and emotional maturity in dealing with family or monetary matters. Once Saturn turns direct, you'll notice greater steadiness in finances and clarity in long-term plans. Combined with Venus's expansive influence, you may redefine success as something that includes inner peace and emotional security, not just achievement. The nodal axis, Rahu in Aquarius and Ketu in Leo, continues to shape your personal evolution. Rahu in your sign pushes you towards self-reinvention and independence, urging you to break patterns and embrace innovation. Ketu in your 7th house, meanwhile, brings shifts in relationships and partnerships, often emphasizing detachment or unconventional bonds. You may crave freedom or encounter people who challenge your understanding of commitment. As Venus transits your 9th house of destiny, relationships can become mirrors for your spiritual lessons, introducing karmic connections that expand your worldview or reshape your beliefs. Venus also stimulates travel and intellectual exploration. You may feel drawn to visit culturally rich or spiritually significant places, or to study topics that connect beauty, wisdom, and creativity. This is an excellent time to plan long-distance journeys or higher studies, though Mercury's retrograde phases advise caution with logistics and timing. Delays may occur, but they often serve to refine your plans rather than derail them. By late November, greater clarity will emerge around educational or travel-related pursuits. On a personal level, Venus in Libra restores inner harmony and optimism. You may rediscover inspiration through art, music, philosophy, or meaningful conversation. The 9th house governs faith and divine guidance, so mentorship or spiritual insight may arrive just when you need direction. Books, teachers, or even chance encounters could shift your understanding of truth. With the Sun debilitated alongside Venus, avoid rigidity or superiority in matters of belief. The real growth lies in staying open-minded and receptive. Romantically, this transit favors intellectual and spiritual bonds. Singles may meet someone through study, travel, or shared ideals. For those in relationships, conversations about beliefs, values, or long-term goals take focus. The presence of Ketu in the partnership sector may bring tests of understanding, reminding you to prioritize authenticity over attachment. Venus ensures harmony is restored when both partners communicate with patience and respect. As Venus completes its stay in Libra, a quiet transformation takes shape. You emerge with a broader outlook, a more refined sense of purpose, and deeper faith in your path. The combination of Jupiter and Mercury's retrogrades, Mars's ambition, and Saturn's steady discipline makes this month less about instant rewards and more about building an enduring foundation for the future. You are being guided to realign ambition with meaning, intellect with empathy, and independence with integrity. Overall, Venus's passage through Libra in your 9th house rekindles hope, purpose, and balance. It harmonizes intellect and faith, blending worldly action with spiritual wisdom. While the debilitated Sun may temporarily blur confidence, Venus's guidance helps you lead through understanding rather than assertion. With Rahu inspiring reinvention and Saturn anchoring discipline, this phase reshapes you into a wiser, more self-aware version of yourself. By the time Venus leaves Libra, you'll feel more certain of your beliefs and clearer about where your next steps should lead, rooted in truth, guided by faith. For Pisces, Venus governs the 3rd and 8th houses, areas tied to communication, courage, transformation, and the hidden dimensions of life. As Venus transits Libra, its own sign, it moves through your 8th house, bringing a cycle of inner renewal, emotional intensity, and psychological healing. Despite the 8th house's complexity, Venus's dignity in Libra ensures grace amid change. You're likely to handle deep emotions and shifts in relationships with composure and diplomacy, turning even difficult moments into opportunities for understanding. Yet, because the 8th house also rules secrets, trust, and sudden change, Venus's influence can bring both sweetness and unpredictability in love and finances. Early in the transit, Venus conjoins the debilitated Sun in Libra, highlighting vulnerabilities in intimacy, shared resources, and emotional dependence. The Sun's weakness may cause uncertainty about what you want from others or reveal power imbalances in relationships. Hidden issues, around trust, money, or unspoken expectations, might surface. Venus's strength softens conflicts and encourages healing through honesty and empathy. Avoid suppressing emotions or overanalyzing motives. Open communication will lead to reconciliation. Once the Sun enters Scorpio on November 16th, emotional clarity returns, deepening bonds and transforming connections through renewed trust. Mercury's movement adds reflection and introspection. Transiting Scorpio early in the month, Mercury activates your 9th house of higher learning and faith, prompting philosophical exploration and a desire for broader understanding. On November 10th, Mercury turns retrograde, leading to reevaluation of beliefs, travel plans, or educational pursuits. You might revisit an old subject, mentor, or spiritual path. When Mercury retrogrades back into Libra on November 23rd, just before Venus exits the sign, it creates a potent overlap in your 8th house. This combination enhances curiosity about the unseen, drawing you toward research, healing, or occult subjects. Conversations may turn introspective or private, and hidden truths could surface, helping you understand yourself and others more deeply. Mars, ruling your 2nd and 9th houses, is strong in Scorpio, your 9th house of destiny and higher knowledge. This placement fuels ambition, independence, and a quest for meaning. You may be driven to expand your worldview through travel, study, or spiritual exploration. Mars in Scorpio gives you the courage to face uncomfortable truths and transform your thinking. Yet, it can also make you rigid in your convictions. Balancing passion with openness is key. Combined with Venus's 8th house influence, this period encourages transformation through experiences that challenge your faith or beliefs. Encounters, journeys, or teachings now could fundamentally reshape your understanding of life. Jupiter, your 1st house ruler, continues to transit Cancer, your 5th house of creativity and expression. This generally enhances optimism and emotional warmth. On November 11th, Jupiter turns retrograde, shifting focus inward. You may reflect on creative ambitions, romantic experiences, or how you express love and joy. Jupiter's aspects to your 9th and 11th houses strengthen spiritual growth and supportive networks, though progress in creative or romantic matters might slow. This pause is constructive. It helps you refine what genuinely fulfills you. Jupiter's gentle guidance balances the emotional turbulence of Venus in the 8th, helping you process transformation with faith and grace rather than fear. Saturn, retrograde in Pisces until November 28th, continues shaping your identity and maturity. As your chart ruler, Saturn's lessons run deep. This phase emphasizes boundaries, self-discipline, and emotional responsibility. You may have felt pressure to define who you are or to outgrow old patterns of dependence. The process can feel heavy, but it's stabilizing your foundation. Venus's presence in your 8th house complements this by bringing emotional healing and helping you release limiting attachments. Saturn teaches endurance, while Venus restores trust in life's regenerative cycles. As Saturn turns direct later in the month, you regain clarity and confidence in your direction. Financially, Venus in the 8th house highlights shared resources, inheritances, investments, and joint ventures. Transparency is essential now. Early in the transit, when the Sun is debilitated, avoid ego-driven financial decisions or conflicts over control. Venus encourages cooperation and fair negotiation, but Mercury's retrograde suggests double-checking contracts or monetary agreements. Some Pisces individuals may need to revisit old debts or shared financial responsibilities. The lesson is to build stability through trust and honesty rather than secrecy or assumption. Emotionally, this period deepens intimacy and vulnerability. The 8th house often brings relationships that feel karmic or transformative, pulling you into experiences that expose both your desires and fears. You may encounter someone who mirrors your emotional depth, prompting powerful self-awareness. Those already in relationships could undergo renewal through deeper honesty or shared healing. For others, this may involve confronting unresolved issues to restore balance. Venus here makes emotional growth possible, but only through truth and acceptance. Spiritually, this is a period of awakening. Venus and Mercury's overlap in the 8th house sharpens intuition and heightens sensitivity to unseen energies. You may experience vivid dreams, strong gut instincts, or synchronicities that guide your choices. The 8th house governs the occult, psychology, and rebirth. You might feel drawn toward meditation, astrology, energy work, or transformative healing practices. Mars in Scorpio supports this introspection, giving you the courage to explore the depths of your psyche. The more you embrace inner work now, the more peace and strength you'll find later. As both Jupiter and Saturn retrograde, the universe emphasizes internal growth over external success. Jupiter's wisdom refines your creativity and faith, while Saturn's discipline strengthens your sense of self. Venus acts as the bridge between these forces, helping you integrate emotional healing with self-empowerment. Even if outer progress feels slow, the internal transformation is profound. You're learning that beauty and strength come from emotional authenticity, not appearances or control. This is a month of purification, releasing guilt, resentment, and fear to make room for compassion and clarity. By late November, as Mercury retrogrades into Libra, old emotional themes may resurface for closure. You might reconnect with a past relationship or revisit memories that once felt unresolved. Handle these moments with maturity and perspective. Venus's influence allows healing conversations and peaceful endings where needed. Once Venus leaves Libra, you'll notice emotional lightness and renewed balance in your heart and relationships. Ultimately, Venus's passage through Libra marks a time of emotional depth, self-discovery, and rebirth for Pisces. While the combination of retrograde planets and a debilitated Sun may bring turbulence, it also creates space for lasting transformation. You are being asked to face vulnerability with courage and to let love, not fear, guide your evolution. The changes unfolding now may not be visible yet, but they're reshaping you from within. As this transit concludes, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and more attuned to your truth. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the Sidereal Zodiac system used in Vedic Astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions, and outcomes will vary depending on your individual birth chart. The influence of transits is deeply shaped by your ongoing dasha periods and the specific placement of planets in your natal chart. What may be a time of progress for one person could mark a period of reflection or challenge for another. This is why it's essential to interpret transits within the context of your unique chart. If you're seeking a more personalized understanding of how current transits may impact you, or if you have specific questions about your birth chart, feel free to reach out to us. If you found this content helpful, please consider liking the video, sharing it with others who may benefit, and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Thank you for watching. We look forward to continuing to share deeper astrological insights with you. Until next time, stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.